Doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. Let me tell you two quick stories to show you what I mean. First, there's the tech executive who invented part of Wi Fi technology and made millions for multiple companies. Brilliant guy, but his relationship with money was childish. He carried a stack of $100 bills several inches thick, showed it to everyone, bragged about his wealth constantly. One day, he handed a colleague several $1,000s cash and said, "Go buy me some $1,000 gold coins from the jewelry store." When the coins arrived, he and his buddies went to the dock and threw them into the Pacific Ocean, skipping them like rocks, just for fun. Want to know where he is now? Broke. Completely broke. Now, let's talk about Ronald Reed, a janitor who quietly saved and invested small amounts his whole life. Never made more than minimum wage. When he died, he had $8 million in the bank. The tech genius had brilliant technical skills, but terrible money behavior. The janitor had simple money behavior that actually worked. So what does this tell us? Finance isn't a hard science like physics. It's a soft skill, built on psychology, emotion, and self-control. Think about it. In what other field can someone with no education and no training outperform someone with the best degrees? You'll never see a high school dropout do better heart surgery than a trained doctor. But in finance, it happens all the time. And here's the great news. If you're an average person, like I am, it means you don't need to be a financial genius to succeed with money. We just need to copy the janitor, not the tech executive. The janitor had a few simple habits. He automated his savings and investing. He avoided spending temptations, and he thought before every purchase. You can start doing the same today. Set up automatic savings and investing. Delete shopping apps from your phone. Wait 3 days before buying anything over $50. So, the first lesson for you is this. If you are serious about fixing your finances, then stop looking for the secret financial strategy. Instead, look in the mirror and fix the money habits and behaviors that are keeping you broke. Lesson number 2, the Ferrari nobody cares about. You see a guy driving a Ferrari. What's your first thought? Wow, that guy is so cool. Wrong. Your first thought is actually, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. Here's the brutal truth. When you see someone driving an expensive car, you rarely think about the driver. You think about yourself driving that car. The guy in the Ferrari thinks everyone is looking at him with admiration. They're not. They're looking at the car and imagining themselves in it. He is invisible. This happens with everything. Expensive clothes, big houses, fancy watches. You think these things make people respect you, but most people don't admire your stuff. They just start wanting it for themselves. You might spend $60,000 on a car thinking it will make you look successful. But the person you're trying to impress is probably thinking, I need to get a car like that. Not, that person is amazing. Even worse, the people whose respect you actually want will judge you negatively for flashy spending because they know that an expensive car usually means expensive debt. So, the lesson for you is this. Next time you want to buy something expensive to impress others, stop and ask yourself, am I buying this because I need it or because I want others to think something about me? If it's the second one, don't buy it. Take that money and put it towards something that actually matters, your freedom. Nobody cares about your stuff as much as you think they do. Lesson 3. Most of your investments will fail, and that's okay. Here's something that will mess with your head. Warren Buffett owned 400 to 500 stocks in his lifetime. He made most of his money on just 10 of them. That means 98% of his investments were mediocre or bad, and he's considered the greatest investor ever. This isn't just Buffett. This is how everything works. Most things fail. A few things succeed wildly. Those few winners make up for all the losers. Amazon has tried hundreds of products. Most failed. But Amazon Web Services and Prime make so much money that all the failures don't matter. Most people don't understand this. They think good investors are right most of the time, but that is not the case. Good investors are wrong most of the time, but their wins are so big, they cover all their losses. So the key lesson for you is this. Regardless of what you are doing in business or investing, accept that most of your ideas will fail. Most of your YouTube videos will get 100 views, but one viral hit will get you 50,000 subscribers. Most of your marketing campaigns will fail, but one breakthrough will pay for everything. This is how success works. You can't predict which attempt will be the winner, so you need to keep taking shots. Most people quit too early because they think being wrong most of the time means they're bad at what they're doing. But being wrong most of the time is the game. The winners aren't the people who are right more often. They're the people who can handle being wrong long enough for their few big wins to pay off. Lesson 4. The power of time. Warren Buffett is worth $84 billion. Here's what will blow your mind. $81.5 billion of his wealth came after he turned 65. You heard that right. The world's greatest investor made almost all of his money when he was old. Buffett's skill is investing, but his secret is time. He started investing when he was 10. That's the magic of compound interest. Your money earns returns, and then those returns earn returns. Given enough time, the numbers get ridiculous. Most people think investing is about picking the right stocks or timing the market. It's not. It's about giving your money time to compound. Every year you wait to start is a year of growth you'll never get back. You don't need to be brilliant. You just need to start early and never stop. If you haven't started yet, don't worry, you still can. There's an old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Lesson 5. You are not crazy. Your friend thinks you're insane for wanting to quit your job and start something. Your parents think you're crazy for not appreciating your stable paycheck. Your girlfriend thinks you're nuts for saving money instead of going out every weekend. Here's the truth. You're not crazy, but neither are they. Every financial decision you make seems perfectly logical to you. Your friend grew up watching his dad get laid off from a safe job, so he values security. Your parents lived through recessions, so they fear risk. Your girlfriend sees people with steady paychecks living well, so she wants that lifestyle. You grew up seeing entrepreneurs online living freely, so you chase that dream. None of you are wrong. You're all making decisions based on what you've experienced. The problem? You're judging each other's money decisions without understanding their background. Your parents think you're reckless because they remember when jobs were actually secure. Your friend thinks you're naive because he's seen businesses fail. But here's where it gets dangerous. You start doubting yourself because everyone around you thinks you're making terrible choices. You begin questioning your goals because the people closest to you don't understand them. This kind of doubt will kill your dreams. The solution is simple. Stop explaining your money decisions to other people. When someone questions why you're saving aggressively or not spending on their priorities, just say, "That works for you. This works for me," and change the subject. Don't try to convince them. Don't justify your choices. Their fears are based on their experiences, not your future. Lesson 6. Greed, the silent wealth killer. Rajat Gupta had everything. Born in poverty in India, he became CEO of McKinsey, the world's most prestigious consulting firm. By 2008, he was worth $100 million. That's never work again money. That's your great-grandchildren never work again money. But Gupta wanted more. He sat on Goldman Sachs's board and saw billionaires everywhere. So he started insider trading. He'd learn about secret deals in board meetings, then call his hedge fund buddy with the tips. He made $17 million from insider trading, on top of his $100 million. For what? He went from incredibly rich to slightly more incredibly rich. Then he got caught, reputation destroyed, and he went to prison. Here is the brutal truth. The hardest financial skill isn't making money. It's knowing when to stop trying to make more. Warren Buffett put it perfectly. To make money, they didn't have and didn't need. They risked what they did have and did need. And that's foolish. This isn't just about billionaires. You do this too. You have a stable job, but chase a risky side hustle that could get you fired. You have a solid investment portfolio, but gamble on crypto. Before making any financial decision, ask yourself, am I risking what I have and need for what I don't have and don't need? If yes, don't do it. Know when you have enough. Lesson 7. Luck. Bill Gates went to the only high school in the world with a computer. 1 in a million odds. His best friend, Kent Evans, was just as smart, just as driven, had the same vision. Kent could have been a Microsoft co-founder. But Kent died in a mountaineering accident before graduation. Also, 1 in a million odds. Same luck, same odds, opposite results. You think your success is all skill. When things go right, you feel like a genius. When they go wrong, you feel like a failure. But here's the truth. You're not either one. You're underestimating how much luck is involved. Luck plays a bigger role than you think. That promotion only happened because your coworker quit. That job opportunity came because someone recommended you at the right time. But here's the thing about luck. It swings both ways. Good luck can make you rich. Bad luck can make you broke. Most people prepare for neither. They assume good times will last forever and bad times will never come. The people who build real wealth understand this. You can't control luck, but you can control how long you survive when bad luck hits. If you have enough money saved, you can ride out the bad times and be ready when good times return. Start saving $50 every week for bad luck. Call it your emergency fund or things happen fund, whatever makes you actually do it. Because when bad luck hits, and it will, you'll survive long enough for good luck to find you again. The people who get wiped out are the ones who never planned for anything going wrong. Lesson 8. The trader who had everything and lost it all. Jesse Livermore made the equivalent of $3 billion in one day during the 1929 stock market crash. He was the richest man in America. 4 years later, he was broke and took his own life. How do you go from $3 billion to broke in 4 years? Easy. You confuse getting money with keeping money. Getting money and keeping money are totally different skills. Getting money requires risk, optimism, and putting yourself out there. Keeping money requires the opposite: humility, fear, and accepting that what you made can disappear just as fast. People respect hustle, but they overlook survival, the boring, cautious part that actually keeps you free. Staying rich means you prepare for the unexpected. Avoid putting it all on the line. Buffett's not just great because he's smart. He's great because he never blew up. He never started all over again. Most people think if your portfolio goes down by 50%, you just need a 50% gain to get back. But that's wrong. You need a 100% gain just to break even. That's why protecting what you've built matters more than chasing what you don't have. Lesson for you is this: get bold to build wealth, But once you're ahead, shift to protection mode. Lesson 9. The one thing money actually buys. Money doesn't buy happiness. You've heard that a million times, but money does buy something more valuable than happiness: control over your time. The ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today, is worth more than any car, house, or vacation. It's the highest dividend money pays. Most people use money wrong. They buy bigger houses, nicer cars, expensive clothes. All that stuff just creates more problems. What they should be buying is freedom. Freedom from saying yes to things they hate because they need the money. Freedom from working weekends. Freedom from checking email on vacation. Think about it. What makes you happier? A new iPhone? Or sleeping in on Monday because you don't need your job? The people who figure this out early are the ones who win. They live below their means, not because they're cheap, but because they're buying something more valuable than stuff. Options. Here's what you need to understand. Every dollar you spend on impressing other people is a dollar that can't buy you freedom later. Start tracking every dollar you spend trying to look successful. Expensive coffee, brand name clothes, eating out to show off. Add it up for 1 month. That number? That's how much your ego costs. Now, imagine putting that money toward freedom instead of status. Lesson 10. Wealth is what you don't see. There was a guy named Roger who drove a Porsche to the hotel where the author worked as a valet. Everyone thought Roger was rich. Then one day he showed up in a beat-up Honda. Next week, same Honda. The author says, one day I asked what happened to his Porsche. Repossessed, he said. Turns out Roger was broke. He just had an expensive car payment. Meanwhile, Ronald Reed, the janitor, walked around in old clothes and drove a rusty truck. He had $8 million when he died. Nobody saw that coming. Here's what most people don't understand. Wealth is what you don't see. Wealth is the cars not purchased, the clothes not bought, the restaurants not visited, the upgrades declined. Real wealth is invisible because it's just money sitting in account, growing quietly. We judge wealth by what people show us, but what they show us is often the opposite of wealth. It's spending, and spending money means you no longer have that money. The person driving the $100,000 Mercedes might be wealthy, or they might just be someone who spent $100,000 they didn't have. You can't tell the difference by looking. Meanwhile, the person driving the 10-year-old Toyota might be broke. Or they might have $2 million in index funds and just don't care about cars. Real wealth gives you options. Fake wealth gives you payments. Real wealth is invisible. Fake wealth is loud. Every month, look at your bank account and ask, am I getting richer or just looking richer? If you're buying things to appear wealthy, you're moving away from actual wealth. Lesson 11. The one wealth rule everyone ignores. Most people think getting rich is about earning more money. Wrong. Getting rich is about spending less money than you make. That's it. That's the whole secret. You can make $200,000 a year and be broke if you spend $210,000. You can make $40,000 a year and get rich if you spend $30,000. It's not rocket science, but somehow everyone misses this. You have more control over your spending than your income. Your boss controls your salary. The economy controls job opportunities. But you control every dollar that leaves your bank account. Think about it like this. There are 2 ways to have more money at the end of the month. Make $1,000 more or spend $1,000 less. Making $1,000 more means asking for a raise, finding a better job, or starting a side hustle. All hard. Spending $1,000 less means skipping some restaurants, buying a cheaper car, or moving to a smaller place. Much easier. Saving money is like getting a raise that never gets taxed. If you save $100, you keep $100. If you earn an extra $100, you might keep $70 after taxes. The people who get rich aren't the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who save the most. Income gets you started. Savings rate gets you wealthy. So, look at your last month's spending. Find $200 you spent on stuff you didn't really need, maybe eating out, subscriptions you forgot about, or impulse purchases. Now, set up an automatic transfer of $200 from checking to savings every month. You just gave yourself a $2,400 annual raise without asking your boss for anything. Lesson 12. You don't need to be rational, just reasonable. In the early 1900s, a doctor named Julius Wagner Jauregg won the Nobel Prize for curing syphilis. His method? Injecting patients with malaria to give them a fever hot enough to kill the syphilis. It worked, but it was insane. Some patients died from the malaria, but it was the best option they had. Here's the weird part. We now know fevers help fight infection, so technically giving people fevers was the smart thing to do, but no parent today wants their kid to have a fever. Even though fevers help, they hurt. So we give kids medicine to stop fevers. Money works the same way. The mathematically perfect choice and the choice you can actually live with are often different. Harry Markowitz won the Nobel Prize for creating the perfect investment formula. But when asked how he invested his own money, he said, "I split it 50-50 between stocks and bonds because I didn't want to regret whatever happened." That wasn't what his math said to do, but it helped him sleep at night. This is called being reasonable instead of rational. Maybe you pay off your low-interest loans early, not because it's optimal, but because it lets you sleep better. That's not dumb, that's reasonable. If you've been beating yourself up for not following the perfect financial plan, stop. You're not a spreadsheet. You're a human with feelings, fears, and dreams. The best financial strategy isn't the one that looks perfect on paper. It's the one you can stick with when markets crash and you're scared. Pick investments you can hold when they drop 30%. Sleep at night matters more than squeezing out an extra 1% return. Lesson 13. Why history won't save you. The 2008 financial crisis was unlike anything since the 1930s. COVID shutting down the world was totally new. But we keep using old past data to make new predictions. It's like trying to predict earthquakes by studying past earthquakes. The big one that destroys everything is always the one nobody saw coming. Here's what's really wild. 15 billion people lived in the 19th and 20th centuries. But if just 7 people had never been born, Hitler, Stalin, Edison, Bill Gates, and a few others, the entire world would be completely different today. That's how much random events control everything. A few crazy things happen and suddenly all your historical data is useless. Every financial disaster starts with someone saying, "That's never happened before, so it never will." The solution isn't to predict the unpredictable. It's to prepare for anything. This means build a margin of safety. Expect the unexpected. Don't run your finances on max capacity. Because the world won't ask if you're ready. It'll just punch you in the face. So, always leave room for life to surprise you. Things that have never happened before happen all the time. The only certain thing in life is uncertainty. Lesson 14. The smartest people always have a plan B. Pilots carry extra fuel. Your car has a spare tire. And smart people always have backup plans. But most people don't do this with money. They plan for everything to go perfectly. I'll definitely get that raise. My business will definitely take off. Then reality hits. You don't get the raise, your business struggles, the market crashes, and suddenly you're broke because you bet everything on your perfect plan. Here's what successful people understand. You can make all the right moves and still get crushed by bad luck. You can be the best employee and still get laid off. You can have the best business idea and still fail because of bad timing. You can pick the right investments and still need money during a crash. The winners aren't the ones who predict the future perfectly. They're the ones who survive when their predictions are wrong. So, start building your survival fund today. Calculate 6 months of your basic expenses. Put $100 every month toward that number until you hit it. Yep, it's boring money that just sits there. But boring money is what keeps you in the game when exciting plans fall apart. Lesson 15. You will change. The author says, I knew a guy in high school who wanted to be a doctor more than anything. No money, no connections, terrible grades. Everyone said it was impossible. But he worked harder than anyone. He finally became a doctor. When I talked to him recently, the first words out of his mouth? Awful career. Awful career, man. The stress, the hours, the lawsuits, everything he didn't think about at 18 when he was dreaming about becoming a doctor. Here's the problem. People are terrible at predicting what they'll want in the future. At 18, you think working 80-hour weeks sounds exciting. At 35 with kids, it sounds like hell. Psychologists call this the end of history illusion. You think you'll basically be the same person forever, just with more money. But you won't. Your priorities will change. Most financial advice assumes you'll want the same thing for 40 years, but you won't. The career that seems perfect at 22 might make you miserable at 42. This is why locking yourself into rigid financial plans can backfire. The future version of you might want fewer things or different things entirely. So, the lesson for you is this. Stay flexible. Leave room to adapt. Don't overcommit to long-term goals without checkpoints. Wealth is freedom, not just from poverty, but from past versions of yourself. Build a life that lets you pivot. That's real power. Lesson 16. Everyone's playing a different game. You think everyone investing in the stock market is playing the same game. They're not. Some people are day traders trying to make money in the next hour. Some are retirees trying to make money over the next 20 years. Some are pension funds trying to make money over the next 50 years. But they're all trading the same stocks at the same prices. This creates problems. The day trader thinks Tesla at $800 is cheap because it might hit $850 by lunch. The retiree thinks that Tesla at $800 is insane because the company barely makes a profit. Who's right? Both. They're just playing different games with different rules. Here's where it gets dangerous. You start taking advice from people playing a different game than you. The day trader on YouTube telling you to buy crypto is probably planning to sell it next week. You're planning to hold it for years. His strategy might work for him and destroy you. This happens everywhere. Your broke friend tells you investing is gambling because his dad lost money in 2008. But his dad was day trading individual stocks. You're buying index funds for retirement. Same investments, different games, different outcomes. Before you take anyone's financial advice, ask yourself, what game are they playing? Filter every piece of money advice through this question. Is this person playing the same game I am? If not, ignore their advice. Lesson 17, the price of getting rich. Getting rich isn't free. It has a price, but the price isn't obvious. Stocks make about 10% per year over time. Sounds great, right? Here's the catch. 94% of the time, you lose money. Think about that. For almost the entire time you own stocks, you're watching your money go down on most days. Even in a good year where you end up with more money, you'll watch your account drop on most individual days. That's the price of good investment returns. Fear, stress, doubt, and watching your money disappear for months at a time. Most people try to avoid paying this price. They sell when markets drop, trying to cut their losses. Then they buy back in when prices recover, trying to get back in. They want the returns without the volatility. But that's like trying to get a discount at the store without paying anything. Think of volatility like admission to an amusement park. You could sneak in without paying, but you'll probably get caught and kicked out. Or you can pay the price and enjoy the rides. The key is changing how you think about losses. Don't see them as penalties for making mistakes. See them as fees for getting something valuable. Once you accept this, everything changes. You stop looking for easy. You start respecting the cost of staying in the game. Remember, if volatility bothers you, you have two choices: accept smaller returns from safer investments, or learn to see market drops as the price you pay for life-changing wealth. Lesson 18. 6 rules that actually work. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need to predict the future. You just need to follow a few basic principles that work for normal people. First, be humble when things go well and forgiving when they go wrong. Success and failure both have more to do with luck than most people admit. Second, save money. Not for a specific goal, but just to save. Savings without a purpose gives you options when life surprises you. And life will surprise you. Third, manage your money in a way that helps you sleep at night. The investment strategy that looks perfect on paper doesn't matter if you can't stick with it when it drops 30%. Fourth, increase your time horizon. Time is the most powerful force in investing. Most people think about quarters. Rich people think about decades. Fifth, become comfortable with a lot of things going wrong. You can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune if your winners are big enough. Sixth, use money to gain control over your time. Not having control over your time is the biggest drag on happiness that money can solve. These aren't complicated, but simple doesn't mean easy. The hard part is actually doing them when emotions are running high. Write these 6 rules on a piece of paper. Keep it in your wallet. When you're about to make a big money decision, read them first. Lesson 19. The stories we tell ourselves. Between 2007 and 2009, something weird happened. The economy lost $16 trillion and 10 million jobs. But here's the strange part. Nothing physical changed. Same factories, same roads, same computers, same knowledge. If an alien visited Earth in 2007 and came back in 2009, he'd basically see the same world. So what happened? We changed the story we told ourselves about the economy. In 2007, the story was, house prices always go up. The economy is strong. In 2009, the story was, everything is collapsing. Nobody knows what they're doing. We're all doomed. Same world, different story. This happens to you personally, too. The story you tell yourself has a big impact on your finances and life. You might have the same job, same skills, same opportunities today as you did last month. But if you tell yourself a story that nothing is working or I'll never get ahead, you'll act differently. You'll take fewer risks, spend less money, look for fewer opportunities. Your financial reality is shaped more by the stories in your head than the numbers in your bank account. Write down the story you tell yourself about money. Is it, I'm bad with money? Or, I'm getting better with money every month? Is it, rich people got lucky? Or, rich people did things I can learn? Your story becomes your reality. So make sure it's a story that helps you instead of hurts you. Lesson 20. Why bad news sells better than good news. Turn on the news. What do you see? Wars, crashes, disasters, scandals. Turn on financial news. What do you hear? Market might crash. Recession coming. Your retirement is doomed. Here is what you don't hear. Economy grows 3% this year, like it does most years. Stock market goes up, like it does most decades. Most people's lives get slowly better over time. Why? Because optimism is boring. Pessimism is exciting. If someone says, everything will probably be fine, you shrug and keep scrolling. But if someone says something negative about the stock you bought, you will stop everything and listen to every single word he has to say. Matt Ridley once wrote, if you say the world has been getting better, you may well get away with being called naive. If you say catastrophe is coming, you may expect a genius award. This messes with your investing. You hear 10 scary stories for every good story. You think scary things happen 10 times more often than good things. But that's not reality. That's just what gets attention. Your brain is wired to pay attention to threats. That kept your ancestors alive when tigers were chasing them. But it makes you a terrible investor when you're constantly worried about financial tigers that probably aren't there. So, stop watching financial news for 30 days. Unfollow the doom and gloom Twitter accounts. Instead of getting daily doses of fear, check your investments once per month. You'll realize the world isn't ending nearly as often as the news claims. Lesson 21. What you should do with your money. The author says, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do with your money, but I'll tell you what to do with mine. His goal isn't to get the highest returns. It's independence. He wants to wake up every day and do what he wants, with whom he wants. He and his wife live well below their means. They could afford a bigger house, nicer cars, expensive vacations. But they don't want them badly enough to give up their independence for them. They own their own house without a mortgage. Housel says this is probably the worst financial decision they've ever made, but the best money decision they've ever made. Financially, they should have invested that money in stocks. Emotionally, owning their house outright makes them feel independent. They keep about 20% of their money in cash, way more than most financial advisors recommend. But they never want to be forced to sell investments when they need money. Cash is boring, but it keeps them free. Every financial decision they make revolves around one question. Does this help us sleep better at night? If the answer is no, they don't do it. This approach works for them. It might not work for you. The point isn't to copy what he does. The point is to figure out what you want money to do for you. Then build a plan around that. Your plan should be simple enough that you can stick with it for decades, flexible enough that you can adjust it as you change, and boring enough that you're not tempted to mess with it every time the market moves. This was the last lesson. Here is the quick recap of all 21 lessons we covered. 1. Money success is about behavior, not intelligence. The Wi-Fi genius who went broke spending foolishly while a minimum wage janitor saved $8 million. 2. When you see someone's Ferrari, you're not admiring them, you're imagining yourself driving it. So stop buying expensive things to impress others. 3. Even the best investors are wrong most of the time. Buffett failed on 98% of his stocks, but the few big wins made him rich. So keep taking shots. 4. Time beats skill in investing. Buffett made most of his $84 billion after age 65 because he started at 10, so start investing early. 5. Your crazy money decisions make sense based on your experiences. Stop letting others' fear based on their past control your financial future. 6. Greed destroys wealth. A CEO with $100 million, never work again money, went to prison trying to make $17 million more. So know when you have enough. 7. Luck swings both ways. Bill Gates got lucky with the only computer in school. His friend died in an accident. So save for bad luck because it will hit. 8. Getting money and keeping money are different skills. A trader made $3 billion, then lost everything in 4 years. So survival beats success. 9. Money buys time control, not happiness. Freedom from needing a job matters more than any expensive purchase. 10. Real wealth is invisible. The Porsche driver was broke with car payments while the janitor had millions hidden away. 11. The only wealth rule that matters. Spend less than you earn. You control spending more than income. 12. Be reasonable, not rational. Even the Nobel Prize winner invested 50-50 for peace of mind instead of following his own perfect formula. 13. History won't predict the future. The biggest events are always unprecedented, so prepare for anything instead of relying on past data. 14. Always have backup plans. Calculate 6 months' expenses and save for it because perfect plans always break. 15. You will change completely over decades. Stay flexible instead of locking into rigid 40-year financial plans. 16. Everyone's playing different investment games. Day trader advice will destroy long-term investors, so only take advice from people playing your game. 17. Volatility is the admission price for wealth. You'll lose money 94% of days, even in good years. Accept it as the fee for getting rich. 18. 6 rules that work. Be humble with wins, save without goals, sleep well, think decades, expect failures, buy time control. 19. The story in your head shapes your money reality. I'm bad with money becomes true. I'm learning becomes growth. 20. Bad news gets attention while good news gets ignored. Stop watching daily financial doom. The world isn't ending as much as news claims. 21. Focus on independence over optimization. The author owns his house debt-free and keeps 20% cash because sleeping well beats perfect returns. That's it. Hope it was a useful video. Thanks for watching.